NPH has been taking care of Haiti's children for almost a quarter century, a focus that's become even more crucial in the wake of last year's devastating earthquake. In the shadows of St. Damien's Children's Hospital in Tabar, NPH has stretched itself in amazing ways this year to respond to the tragedy. The Father Wasson Angels of Light program was one of the first relief projects to spring up just a couple of days after the quake.
We started running small tent schools all over Port-au-Prince to take children out of the situation that they were in, to do good things, fun things, to get their minds off the situation of daily life.
The program served over 2,500 children at 13 sites around Port-au-Prince and was supposed to be a temporary solution until the new school year started in October.
Those children that were supposed to go back to school, they had no school to go because the schools have collapsed. Some of the teachers have died. And some of the parents had died also and had no money, no means to send them to school. So we had to put together a formal program for education.
While we were having these schools, we identified a lot of children that either lost their parents, both their parents, or one of their parents. And losing them could mean that either they had died in the earthquake or they just couldn't find each other anymore. So we decided to set up a child protection camp for these children.
They started with a couple dozen children, including 4-year-old Nadine, whom we first met at one of our day camps a couple months after the earthquake. She, her mother, and baby brother were living in a cardboard closet inside one of the largest tent cities in Port-au-Prince. Today, Nadine is one of about 160 children who are part of our growing family. Around 40 live here at Kai St. Anne, or the baby's house, for kids ranging in age from 10 months to 5 years old. And the rest are settled a couple miles away at St. Louis, property purchased after the earthquake just a few blocks away from St. Damien's. The facilities have grown along with the numbers. What used to be a handful of donated tents is now a gravel courtyard surrounded by these large semi-trailer-sized containers, cut and configured to be dormitories. On weekdays, the children all attend classes right next door at the Father Wasson Angels of Light School, still housed in a series of tents.
We have about 740 children, including our own children from St. Anne and St. Louis. And then there's a lot of children from outside.
In addition to the hundreds of neighboring kids who attend this flagship school, there are 8 other schools around the city where NPH provides books, uniforms, and most importantly, food for the children. The order and routine that you sense from the minute you visit either the home or the school is astounding, considering how fast it's all had to come together.
It is a lot of hard work from all our workers. In the St. Louis and St. Anne house, over half of the workers there are, we call them grand frères et grand sœurs, so there are older brothers and older sisters. Children that used to live in St. Helene and are now adults and live on their own, and they came and work with us. They're there for the children, but we have a big team of people working day and night, hiring people to do things for us, organizing the things that need to be done to get this together.
The Angels of Light homes are adapting daily to meet the needs of the children and trying to find room for the many more on the waiting list. Its success depends on everyone being flexible and patient as the program grows, including the children themselves.
You know, you don't hear them complain. You just see them making fun, having fun. I mean, you start singing with these children and they just light up and they dance and they sing and they enjoy themselves. I think that is a spirit that's in the young children of Haiti already, and that they take them with them in when they grow up.
The children that come to us are very happy because most of their life it's been in very difficult situations. They realize that here with us they have the protection of the adults and they have the friendship of the other children and they have an environment that will create some kind of security for them.
Children who've experienced an earthquake, children who've experienced death and loss of loved ones, it's extra difficult for them to have that sense of safety because unfortunately that hasn't always been their experience. I try when I'm working with the children, whether it's in a group, during individual play therapy, I try to have that consciousness of how can we help this child to be safe, how can we ensure security, and how can I encourage routines so that they do have that sense of predictability.
Just down the road from the Angels of Light program, the St. Germain Rehab Center serves Haiti's children with special needs, a population that was often shunned and forgotten even before the earthquake.
If you have a special needs child and you don't have services, it's very difficult for you because most of them live in tiny little houses and a lot of the kids come in here need space. Now, since the earthquake, a lot of our families are living in tents. So now you have a child who can't move or can't talk and he or she is lying on the ground and you know it's a hot climate, so for sure there's ants. So now you have ants or flies crawling all over the kids and they can't do a thing about it.
Gina Harity started the program in 2004. It provides physical and occupational therapy for the children and is a source of support to their families. Also, about 100 more independent special needs students attend the school at St. Germain each day. Classes run from 8 a.m. through 1:30 p.m. Just like other programs, St. Germain has adapted itself to meet the needs of earthquake victims, like 9-year-old Joanne, who suffered a severe brain injury when her house collapsed. She spent many weeks in a coma and was largely unresponsive before coming to therapy here.
She continued to improve and improve to the point where today, when the mother puts the telephone, she'll say hello, or she'll reach her hand out to try and touch you. So she's very much there. And Joanne, for us, is one of the signs of hope that we hold on to.
This new therapy room provides services for some adults injured in the quake, as well as stroke victims. Another addition is the state-of-the-art machine, which makes and fits prosthetic limbs. The St. Germain program has tried to help ease the earthquake's economic devastation by giving small loans to families in need to help them start a business or build a home. Also, it's creating jobs for some of the moms in the program. They make greeting cards, which are then sold for fundraising. But despite all of the additions to the program, St. Germain's continues to excel at what it does best, breaking new ground for Haiti's children with special needs. Just behind St. Germain's, a new tent hospital, put up in early November, is treating victims of another 2010 Haitian tragedy, the cholera epidemic.
As usual, we're chameleons, turning the colors of what's happening around us and trying to adapt to fit the needs of the children that are around us. Cholera is an enormous problem and it's going to stay a problem, but you can't contaminate your hospital by taking care of people with cholera.
What started out as a few tents is now the St. Philomene Rehydration Center, which has already treated some 1,800 patients in its first 2 months.
There's been an outpouring of help from all over the place to help supplement what the work that the Haitian people here are doing. It is a terrible, terrible sickness, and it's hard to see it every day. We're seeing it as something that we have to make sustainable and a service that we're going to have to provide for a long time, and that's definitely going to be really expensive.
And finally, the cornerstone of all of this, St. Damian's Pediatric Hospital, not only withstood the earthquake, but it's greatly expanded its services to help meet the overwhelming needs in its aftermath.
The first huge change in the hospital is the maternity and the neonatology programs, which started because places that had those programs were crushed in the earthquake. Even though we tried doing a small thing, it wound up to be a huge thing, as usual, because of the need. So that program has taken over probably 20% of our hospital.
Also, the Children's Cancer Ward has expanded. A new St. Luke Field Hospital was born out of the need to treat adult patients with nowhere else to go. And the surgery programs, both there and at St. Damian's Hospital, have grown dramatically.
Usually when somebody dies, you can cry. But this time so many people died together that we didn't even cry about it. Because we couldn't. There were so many things to do, and then time passed by, and it was just every day you heard of somebody else that had died. So I don't know, really, somehow the body just manages to keep going, you know?
We cultivate something very different in our heart. We have collected all the names of ex-pequeños, of workers, of colleagues that have died, and have painted them on the wall in order to keep a permanent respect of their memory and their spirit, and as a way of remembering both what happened and what's growing out of it.
I think the people that died, that worked in our programs, they're part of us, you know, and for as long as we're here, our lives were enriched because of their lives. And we keep going on, but we're very much aware of what we lost. I think if we're here, it's because we want to be here and because we believe we should be here, and that somehow we find the strength to keep going and to try and make life a little bit better for the people that are here, and it also enriches us. I mean, we're not martyrs. If it wasn't good for us, we wouldn't be here.
But it's such a gift to be able to live here because your whole life changes. You never look on life in the same way when you've been to Haiti. And I love the people. I just love the people so much. There's a psalm that says, the Lord hears the cry of the poor, you know. Sometimes I'm saying, why aren't you hearing it? You know, where are you? Why aren't you hearing it? And yet right away, I want to take that back. Because for me, God is with the people in their very courage to keep going every day.
It has been so hard on the Haitian people, this earthquake. It's been devastating for them. And what I found the most amazing is that they still had a lot of power and a lot of energy and a lot of positivity to go on.
The drive of the people to push ahead in the face of so much sorrow and in front of obstacles which are so insurmountable, to still try. It's absolutely unbelievable. It's like the word collapse doesn't exist. The word feel sorry for yourself and just sit on the sidelines doesn't exist. People still fight with the last bit of fluid they have in them to do the right thing for themselves and for their children. And that is a real heroic story.
All of the NPH projects are full of individual stories of everyday Haitian heroes. Like Jayla and her team, who can whip up meals for 1,500 people with a few big pots and a couple hours' notice. Raphael, who is the behind-the-scenes backbone of the cholera tents and about a dozen other projects at any given time.
Father left all the family in US. He come down, work every day, every night. When you see some people help you, it gives you more power to keep going your work also. All the time, I like to work more for my country.
And Richard, who grew up at St. Helens in Kenskov. He's just a couple years away from graduating medical school and spends his every waking moment at St. Damian.
The reason why I'm everywhere in the hospital, where they need help, I go.
Everybody lost somebody in this earthquake, everybody. And still they want to rebuild and they want to change the country. And if I look at our children who are now adults and really working so hard to do the best thing they can for people around them, there's nowhere else I want to be.
We thank so many generous people, and we hope their ongoing donations because they generate life all around us. It's very important not to give in to Haiti fatigue or the fatigue of hearing about any troubled country that just stays troubled. If you give up on any part of the human family, which is in humiliation, disgrace, and in total lack of dignity, you're giving up on yourself. Because the same way that air has no boundaries and water has no boundaries, in the same way the human spirit has no boundaries. So it's very important that we keep our goal set high to bring the whole world to the banquet of life, a little bit at a time, each of us according to our way, and for people who help NPH to do that by starting with children.
Look up the customer.